Let's set the scene. Two massive armies face off on the fields of Kurukshetra. But instead of the clash of weapons, the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita opens with paralyzing doubt. Arjuna, the mighty warrior, surveys the battlefield and sees not enemies, but uncles, cousins, teachers, and friends. Have you ever faced a moment where your sense of duty collided with your heart? Arjuna's hands tremble, his bow slips. This is what psychologists might call a cognitive dissonance, the mind's distress when beliefs and actions don't align. But here, it's not about minor indecision. It's existential. The entire dharma, or sacred duty, of the warrior seems to contradict the bonds of family and love. Now you might be thinking, why doesn't Arjuna just walk away? Well, in the context of ancient Indian society, a kshatriya's warrior's role was defined by action, by upholding order. Imagine being a firefighter called to a burning building, only to find your own home ablaze. His emotions, despair, confusion, even physical symptoms like burning skin and dry mouth are the classic fight-or-flight response ramped up to mythic proportions. But what makes Arjuna's crisis timeless is that he voices the question we all ask: what is truly right? Why must good people suffer in the pursuit of duty? So here's our Act 1, the setup of an ethical and emotional deadlock. Arjuna is frozen, and the stage is set for deep spiritual inquiry. The Gita doesn't shy away from the conflict. It turns it into the very engine of its philosophy. Now enter Krishna the charioteer, but also the incarnation of the divine. He doesn't coddle Arjuna, but instead challenges him. Why this weakness in the hour of crisis? There's a technical term for what Krishna introduces: Sankhya Yoga, or analytic wisdom, the study of the self and reality. Krishna explains that what truly defines us is not the perishable body, but the imperishable Atman, the soul. He uses the analogy of changing clothes. Just as we discard worn garments, the soul sheds bodies and takes new ones. In modern terms, think of the Atman as the underlying software, unchanging, while the hardware, the body, gets replaced over time. You might be asking, but if the soul can't be killed, what's the point of grief or even action? Krishna's answer is profound. Our true responsibility, our dharma, is to act without attachment to the results. This is karma yoga, duty for duty's sake, not for reward or fear. Krishna also warns about the dangers of attachment and aversion, what behavioral scientists call approach avoidance conflict. These mental states keep us spinning in cycles of craving and avoidance, never at peace. Liberation comes from acting with equanimity, treating success and failure, gain and loss, as equal. So, Krishna's response reframes the conflict. The real battle isn't out there on the field, but inside, between ignorance and wisdom, attachment and detachment. The resolution? Perform your duty, but let go of the fruits. That's the paradoxical path to freedom. If you're thinking, is renunciation the only way to reach spiritual fulfillment? The Gita says no. In fact, it outlines multiple yogas, or discipline paths. Let me tell you a story. Ancient seekers split into two camps, those who meditated in caves and those who served in the world. Krishna unites both. He introduces Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, and Karma Yoga, the path of action. Jnana Yoga is like the scientist's quest for truth, investigating the nature of reality through inquiry and discrimination. Karma Yoga, on the other hand, is about skillful action. Think of a surgeon performing an operation with absolute focus, unattached to praise or blame. Krishna then unveils another technical term, Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion. This isn't blind faith. It's channeling emotion and love towards the divine, transforming all actions, even eating or working, into offerings. Now, you might wonder, do these paths contradict each other? Krishna's radical answer is that all paths, if followed with sincerity and discipline, lead to the same summit, self-realization and unity with the Absolute. The key is integration. It's not about withdrawal from the world, but engagement with it, guided by wisdom and devotion. So, whether you're a thinker, a doer, or a lover, there's a yoga for you. The real obstacle isn't the path, but the mind's restlessness and clinging to results. Liberation isn't escape. It's right action, right knowledge, and right love, all working in harmony. As the teachings build, Krishna grants Arjuna the divine eye, a visionary experience called Vishvarupa Darshan. Arjuna sees the universe as one seamless whole, with all beings, gods, and forces as aspects of Krishna. This is a direct glimpse of what physicists call non-duality, where there's no separation between observer and observed. But Krishna brings the lesson back to earth. True yogis see the same divinity in all, whether in a priest, an outcast, or even an animal. This is Samadarshana, equal vision. It's a radical form of empathy, rooted in the technical term Advaita, or non-dual consciousness. Now, you might be thinking, that's lofty, but what about everyday life, work, family, conflict? Krishna's answer: the highest spirituality isn't in renouncing the world, but in living in it with wisdom, self-control, and compassion. He prescribes cultivating qualities like humility, patience, and equanimity, what we'd now call emotional intelligence. He also warns against the three gunas: goodness, passion, and ignorance, which color our actions and minds. Our task is to transcend these modes, not by suppressing life, but by anchoring ourselves in the unchanging self. Picture a lotus leaf floating on water untouched, yet fully in the world. In the end, Krishna's teaching is both cosmic and practical. Realize oneness, act selflessly, and surrender the ego. As Arjuna's despair transforms into clarity, he stands ready not just to fight, but to live with purpose and peace. That's the timeless promise of the Gita. Spiritual fulfillment, right here, right now.